Hello, welcome to this video on graphing inequalities. Here we're going to turn the inequality into an equation and then we will draw the graph and we'll shade the region required. You should by this stage know all the symbols connected to inequalities, and that is greater than, less than, and then you've got greater than or equals to and less than or equals to. Let's dive straight into a question and I'll explain all the procedures as we go. The first question we have is we've got to draw a graph, shade the region that satisfies the inequality. This is the inequality. First thing we're going to do is we're going to change that into the equation, and that is y equals x plus 2. And here we have a graph in the form of y equals mx plus c. M will be our gradient and c is our y-intercept. And that's just where our graph crosses the y-axis. So we can see we have a graph with a gradient of +1 and a y-intercept of +2. So draw your graph, and as our gradient is 1, that means every time we go up 1, we go across 1. So we know it goes through +2, so we have one coordinate which is 0, 2, and our second coordinate would be 1, 3. So our graph would look something like this. It's a bit off, but you roughly get it. And then because our inequality sign is a less than or equals to, that means the region we need to shade is this area here. What we have shown by drawing a solid line, and that's what you draw when you have an inequality sign that is equals, we are saying that when y is less than or equal to x plus 2, when it's below this line here. Let's try another one. This one we have y is greater than x minus 3. So turn it into an equation. Y equals x minus 3. Draw your graph. You label it x, y, and mark your origin. We're in the form of y equals mx plus c. M our gradient equals 1 again, and a y-intercept is -3. So let's mark -3 on our graph. Now this time we're dealing with greater than, so we do a dotted line, not a solid line. If it's greater than or equal to, it's a solid line. I'm going to use a ruler, and my angle is going to be 45 degrees because that's the angle of a gradient of 1. And then I'm going to draw a dotted line. And now I'm going to shade the region, but this time I'll shade the region that is greater than x minus 3. That would be here. And if we wanted to test this inequality, what we would do is we would pick a coordinate and see if they satisfy the inequality. So if we picked this point about here, which we're going to say let's say it's -2 is our x value and 0 is our y value. And if we put those values into this inequality, we can test whether the region that we've shaded satisfies the inequality. So we're dealing with x as -2 and y as 0. Pop them into the inequality. Our inequality was y is greater than x minus 3. And is that correct? Is 0 greater than -2 minus 3? Yes, because 0 will be greater than -5. So we can say that the region we've shaded does satisfy that inequality. And then lastly, I'm going to tackle this question. Here we're being asked to shade the region that satisfies the inequalities. Now we have 3 inequalities here, and we're going to turn each of them into their corresponding equation. The first one will become y equals x. The second one, x equals 3. And then the last, y equals 4 minus x. And because we're working with straight line graphs, I'm going to turn this one around to be y equals minus x. So I have my gradient first, my y-intercept second. Go ahead and plot those 3 lines. I've just drawn a graph here with the positive quadrant, and the numbers I need on my graph are +3 and +4. That should do. Now the first one, y equals x. So here we have a gradient of 1 and we have no y-intercept, so that is going to go through the origin at a 45-degree angle. If we look at the inequality, we can see that that is less than, so it's going to be a dotted line. Grab a ruler, turn it 45 degrees and draw the graph. Next, we're going to draw the line of x equals 3. And whenever it's an x equals is a vertical line. So 90 degrees, take it to where x is 3. And again, we're going to draw a dotted line because the inequality is just less than. And then lastly, we have the line of y equals minus x. So that's a negative gradient that's going to go downhill. And the y-intercept is positive 4. Again, it's a gradient of 1, negative 1, so that's a 45-degree angle. So that's going to be 135. The 45-degree angle. I'm not going to worry too much about the angle though, because I haven't drawn my graph completely accurate. And this time we're dealing with a greater than or equals to symbol, so it will be a solid line. There we've plotted our 3 lines. Now we've got to shade the region that satisfies all 3 inequalities. The first one, y is less than x. So that was this one here. That means region we would shade would be below this line. So that would be that area there. The next one, x is less than 3. So that's that line there. And we need to shade a region here because that's when x is less than 3. And then the last one, y is greater than or equal to 4 minus x. That's that line here. So we would be shading anything that is above there. And the area that satisfies all 3 regions is this area here. So grab a highlighter, and that's our region. That region there satisfies the inequalities. And that should be about everything. I hope that helps. I've popped a couple of other videos linking to inequalities. If you found the video helpful, do go ahead and subscribe because that would really help the channel. And pop a comment below if there's anything in particular you would like me to put up. I'm going to be recording quite a few videos, maths, chemistry, physics and biology. I always read the comments, so anything that you would find particularly useful, it's great to know. Thank you ever so much for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.